Hey everybody, welcome back to the Camera Shack podcast. This is going to be episode 2 of the podcast, and this episode I just kind of wanted to briefly talk about the Ohio Renaissance Festival. So every year down near Waynesville in Ohio, they have a Renaissance Festival. I've gone quite a few years in the past, usually about once a year. And last year, because it had been canceled in 2020 and, people had kind of been all shut in from the pandemic, I decided to go all out and get a season pass. I'd also kind of started taking a lot of photos around that time as well, with my camera, my Canon camera, and so I thought it could be a great opportunity to really get some cool shots in. And yeah, so I went ahead. I did get the season pass. I probably went a good 10 times, quite a few times. I think almost every time I went with my brother, and we had a great time, walked around, lots of stuff to see. So when you actually get there, they have like a big grass parking lot, and you look out and you see the whole kind of kingdom. So I've gone to other Renaissance festivals. This year there aren't the Ohio Renaissance Festival, so I guess it's important to know that this is actually like a whole built out production. So they have so basically like a village. So it's quite big, and there's actual shops that are built. They're built up like actual houses, but they're only like 200, 300 square foot houses. So they're pretty small, but still they're built, and it's all surrounded by like a kind of like wall in front. But anyways, so you get there, you can go in, and so like right when you walk in, you can see like the whole place it's actually the worst kind of walking path in the world. It's like cheap out gravel kind of stuff, and so it kind of sucks to walk on. And it'd be great if they like paved it. And so it's actually, what's funny is it's usually better just to walk in like on the side of the pavement, not pavement, the path, in the grass itself instead of on the gravel. But like right when you walk in, there's like a pretty good sized stage with rows that you can sit on and stuff. And there's lots of food vendors as well. But like to the left is like a huge, a long path all the way to the other side. To the right, there's like a shorter path, and it's basically like a big loop. You just kind of loop around. So if you just right walk in, if you go, we'll just go to the right, since that's usually. It depends. When I first get to the Renaissance Festival, I usually go left, and I'll tell you why after. But for this visual scenario, I'm gonna go right. And so as you kind of walk to the right, there's lots of stuff. There's places to get pizzas, the Da Vinci Pizza place. There's a broomstick seller. There's like dresses and costumes and all kinds of stuff. And as you keep going, you'll start to get some food places. They have like the pub and stuff like that, so you can buy like like a hamburger or whatever they have right there. And they also have a place right next to it, where you buy the food, where you can sit down. They have like little benches, like outdoor patio table benches, and you can sit at that, and it's like a little mini stage behind these tables, where you can go and where performers will go, and they'll usually have like a band playing there almost the whole day usually. It might be like not opera, but like vocal singers, or maybe they're guitar players, drummers, whatever. But then if you keep walking, so right here, then we turn left. So this is the right edge. So if if you imagine it being a box, basically, we've just gone from the bottom center of the box to the right side of the box, and that's the corner right there where that pub is. So then as we start going up, to the left is the main stage. It's a pretty big stage, and it's like built like as a pirate ship. That it's basically like a pirate ship with a stage. So it's really cool. They have a bunch of like seats where you can sit, but they're like more benches, and it's half of it's kind of covered-ish with these like see-through, like translucent drapes, kind of. But as you keep walking, there's all kinds of shops and vendors and stuff. There's like a glass blowing vendor, for instance. So you can keep going up, and there's even more stuff. And really, I think the next thing is basically just the top right corner of the whole kind of park. So I mean, there's lots of vendors and stuff. So now, though, if you turn left then and start heading back towards the other way, you're going to have a little place on the left there where you can get married. So they have like a tiny like chapel place, and a lot of times they'll have like harp players and stuff like that in that little chapel area. And there's also a mini stage right next to it where a lot of times they'll do this like washing play demonstration thing where they basically have like it's like an act, but they mainly use water. They have like water tricks and stuff like that with like I don't know how to describe it, but if you keep walking, then you kind of get to near the middle, and they have the I can't remember what you call it, the cow shop, where you can get all kinds of leather pouches, that kind of stuff. And then you basically reach the middle again, and then there's a path that kind of leads back to the front. And there's stuff along that path, but I'll get that in just a second. But you can keep going straight then instead, and you'll basically go over like a little bridge, and then you'll reach the other little section back here then, and that's all lots of cool stuff as well. So they have like a little place, it's like a swing set basically, but like big. And so you'll sit in it's not like a chair, it's more like a wooden dragon kind of a thing. So you get into it, and then they basically like push it back and forth. It's like a ride. But you can also keep going, and you can there's more food vendors, costume vendors, all kinds of vendors. And then you're gonna reach the back corner now. This would be the back left corner. And there's another little pub area in the back, then in the back little corner, where they have a mini stage that they kind of do little stuff right there. And you can also get food and drink, and there's some tables. And then directly to the left of that is another stage, but this is like a way bigger stage. It's smaller than the pirate stage, and it's kind of overgrown a little bit, like purposely looks a little overgrown, I guess the best way to describe it. And they have a mud a mud act, I would say, there. So basically they put on a play where they're, I guess, mud warriors or something like that, and they're throwing mud at each other and kind of splattering the front of the audience with mud. And then to the left of that is the Kamikaze Firefly stage, and that's probably about as big as the pirate ship stage. It's pretty big. I guess they just redid the whole stage area last year, and I mean, it looks really nice. And so the Kamikaze Fireflies use that stage for their acts and stuff. So they do a lot of fire acts. They have rings of fires and all that kind of stuff. And so then if you keep going straight, then you're heading back towards the front. And then there's another little back area over here. Then in the bottom left corner, I guess, and there's like a little circus stage there. There's a ton of food. There's probably 6 food vendors all right here in this circle. So you can get like, it's like this, I think it's like a pita ice cream kind of a thing. It's like a flatbread with like ice cream, I believe. Kind of like thing like that. There's right here. There's a bourbon chicken little restaurant, not restaurant. You know, a food vendor. And so then as you start walking back that way, there's another stage about 1/4 the way as you start walking back. There's another stage and lots of benches. It's about the size of the mud show stage, and they do a lot of little. So I think the guy, so he basically throws insults at people. I believe. I think he does a little act right there. He's basically a comedian, I guess, and telling jokes and stuff like that. I think they do a lot of some sword plays there too, where 2 or 3 people will sword fight. And then as you keep going, you're gonna start approaching the start. And to follow back around, the reason I usually go left is right as we get there, or as the gates open. They open, I believe, at 10 o'clock, and so I think it's 10 o'clock, but I basically tried to make a beeline for the bourbon chicken a lot of times, and try to beat the crowd, so to speak. Right around probably 11:30 or 12, it starts to really get busy, big long lines, and so I'm personally always like, I'm just gonna eat a little early, beat all of that. So usually about 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'm chowing down on some bourbon chicken. I've tried quite a few of the food vendors there, and I think that bourbon chicken place is probably, some of the best food vendors there. So. If you haven't already, you should check me out on Instagram at @TheLoganR. I've been posting a lot of great photos on there recently, and I would love it if you could check it out, like a few photos, and follow me. Thanks. Almost every time I went to the festival this year, I did bring my camera. So in this case, it was a Canon R6, an amazing camera, and I was using a 24-70 and a 70-200 zoom lens. Both of the lenses are really nice lenses, and almost every photo I shot was at f4. So for the most part, I shot burst mode as well. So that way, if someone was up on stage and I was trying to take a photo of them, I'd be able to, make sure I didn't miss the moment. And it was kind of a hindrance because, in the end of the day, I would end up with like 6,000 photos. And so that kind of wasn't great. It really bogged everything down. But I did get a lot of moments that I would have missed if I had not shot burst. So I don't regret doing that. It's just, it really adds to the pile. I primarily shot in manual, and I didn't really capture any videos while I was there. I've been trying to do that a lot more as I've been taking more and more photos in the last, for at least for this year, is try to take photos and videos. But anyways, yeah, so those are two main lenses I used. I primarily used the 24-70 to try to get a little more exposition shots. So, shots of like the roads and the houses and large crowds and stuff like that. And I would use the 70-200 to take photos of passerbys or people in costumes, or up on stage and stuff like that. Because it's a really nice portrait lens. And I think the second to last time I went, I took so I have a Sony RX100 Mark V camera. I bought it. I think I bought it for like $100 or $210, which is relatively cheap. It's a 24 to 70 point and shoot camera, but it shoots in RAW, which is really nice because a lot of point and shoot cameras don't shoot in RAW, and that's the primary reason I bought that point and shoot camera was because it shot in RAW. Because I wanted to see, could I get away with taking photos with, really super cheap camera, but just kind of slides in my pocket, and overall, I mean, the camera did really well. So comparing the photos, I don't really know what people want me to talk about as far as me taking photos, I guess. But as far as comparing, the R6 to that camera, the photos were very similar. I mean, the saturation was a little hard to kind of match the two, and it seemed like the grain, the noise in the photo was double that of my Canon. So if I took a photo of my Canon at 2000 ISO, it looked as if I had taken it with 4000 ISO on my Canon camera, when comparing the photos, if that kind of makes sense. So basically, like double the noise. But other than that, I mean, if I was to shuffle in my Canon photos with my Sony photos and didn't tell anybody and they were just kind of browsing through the gallery, they would probably never notice that I switched cameras, like in between looking at these photos. Like, I mean, they're pretty similar if you weren't really trained, I guess, to notice those kind of differences. Like me, I'd probably notice that there may be separate cameras or something different was going on at the very least, because the Sony is an APS-C camera, so the sensor is a lot smaller, so you don't really get that bokeh, the kind of the blurry background, and that background separation doesn't really happen nicely on the Sony, and so you can really tell that if you're looking for it, but if you're not looking for it, you won't notice it. So overall, it's a pretty solid camera for a point and shoot $200 camera. But yeah, so primarily I used the R6, and got lots of photos of people walking around. I think that was some of the best photos that I really got. Is some of the people who are part of part of the crew of the festival. They dress up as well. Having them post some photos, those really turned out really well, because not just because like they're in costume, but the background of the photos too is the atmosphere of the festival. So that's really nice, and I'm totally planning on going back. It opens up again in September, so September through October, and I'm planning on going back and taking way more photos. I think overall, if I had to guess, I don't know how many photos I took at the festival, but if I had to guess, it was probably 3,000 to 5,000 per time, and I probably went 8 times. We'll just say 8 times. So probably close to about 40,000 photos, but that is in burst mode. So more realistically, I would say probably closer to 2,000 to 3,000 photos. Maybe 4,000 photos. Overall, so edited photos though, I think it was about 900 edited photos. for the whole event. So a pretty good amount, 900 photos. That includes the Sony photos though. So I'm hoping to go back next year, and well, not hoping. I will go back next year. Take way more photos, and we'll see how it goes. I'm hoping to get just as good photos, if not, hopefully, way better photos. And I don't really have a plan how to take better photos, I guess. Because I guess it's, it's really just more about, since I've been at the festival, I've just gained more and more experience. So I think the biggest change I'm going to make for this year is definitely going to take way more videos. I want to take way more, little short video clips this year, so that, I've been trying to put out little montages, I guess, on YouTube. But I really like being able to document that kind of stuff. It's really cool to look back after, a year, 2 years, 5 years, and kind of see like a snapshot in time, what this kind of thing looked like, what this festival kind of looked like. So, yeah, hopefully it'll go well. Thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed, please check out some of my other episodes. Also, please share this podcast with some of your friends. I would love to grow the audience for it. If you'd like to leave any comments or suggestions to me, feel free to send me a message on Instagram @TheLoganR. I would love to hear from you guys. Thanks.